Welcome everybody to the MIA Specialist Group Open Group meeting at the World Water Congress in 2022. We are happy to have these meetings once every year to present what is happening within the Modeling and Integrated Assessment Specialist Group, and also to be able to discuss and talk a little bit about future activities and where we are going with the group. So basically, I have a presentation, maybe 30-45 minutes information about this stuff, and then we're open for questions and discussions, and then we conclude after that. So probably not 1.5 hours, more like maybe 45 minutes or an hour. We have the agenda for today: short introduction, a bit of a presentation about the group organization and composition. We have changed the number of people in the management committee recently. And then the main part is about activities that we have done the last 2 years and upcoming activities for the next 2 years. We're going to talk about task groups and working groups, where the MIA Specialist Groups is very active. Webinars, which the MIA group is organizing, upcoming conferences where MIA is directly involved. And we also finish off with a call for new management committee members, especially for young water professionals. So, as you hopefully know, the MIA group is it is 1 out of 50 specialist groups within IWA, and it is the specialist group that is focusing solely on modeling, mathematical modeling of all types of water-related processes and assessment based on simulations of these models, and then also, of course, the other aspect that comes with mathematical modeling, such as estimation and scenario analysis and optimization and benchmarking and whatever. Of course, a lot of modeling work is also happening within many of the other specialist groups that do modeling of their specific processes that they are experts in. But we have the sole focus of being the key specialist group for modeling on all aspects of the urban water and wastewater system. Well, not only the urban, but also everything related to water that comes under the IWA umbrella. And we will come back to several of these points later on during the presentation. We have the main activities that the management committee of the specialist group tries to enhance is that to spread information about our activities to other groups and other organizations, to set up and help arrange and be a participant in arranging conferences, setting up workshops, both at IWA conferences and at other conferences, and setting up webinars, both under the umbrella of IWA, but also within our own MIA community. We're also there to try to facilitate different research studies, case studies that may appear on special topics, producing white papers and so on. We are highly involved in setting up task groups and working groups within the specialist group. That is one of the key ways that the MIA specialist group is working. It's by task groups and working groups. We have throughout the years been the specialist group that has by far the largest number of active task groups. We try to also set up collaborations and activities together with other specialist groups There is a lot of discussion within the IWA that we need to increase the collaboration between the different specialist groups, and we are here to try to facilitate that to the best of our abilities. And it can also be collaborations with other organizations. It doesn't have to be within MIA, but of course that's a good start to collaborate within the IWA setup. But of course, there's also other organizations around the world that we have a lot in common with, that we should try to establish good collaboration links with. We have a goal, or we have a need to set up different internal committees within the management committee on some emerging topics or some emerging things that we need to handle in a fairly short period of time. It can be different tasks that IWA asks us to do, or other things that pop up from the members. And of course, as all IWA activities, we try to work for the benefit of our members. And we also are available for different tasks that IWA headquarters is asking us to do, and try to do that to the best of our ability. And the way that we accomplish this is by having quite an intense set of meetings within the management committee. We meet once every month, and then we have. I'll come back to how the organization looks, but we have a large number of young water professionals in our management committee as well, and the young water professionals themselves have meetings about every 3 months, and also asks in senior researchers to have mentoring sessions at those meetings. We organize these types like we have today, the open group meetings once a year, and we of course try to set that up together with major conferences. So now we have it at the World Water Congress. Next year we will have it at the Watermatics conference in Quebec, and so on. So we do it when we have a significant number of members available on site anyway. Then of course we also have closed management committee meeting this year. We will not have a closed meeting this year at this conference, but quite often we have that in adjunction to the conferences. We generate a short newsletter. You may know that several other specialist groups generate very extensive newsletters. We decided a couple of years ago that it was both a lot of work to create those newsletters of maybe 40, 50 pages of text. And we also had some doubts if anybody was actually reading the content very, very carefully. So instead, we are generating our newsletters based on content that we put on IWA Connect, and automatically generate short itemed newsletters, more in the range of a few, 3, 4, 5 pages. We have IWA Connect, as hopefully you have all been well, at least logged in and set up your profile within IWA Connect. But hopefully you also use that platform to see what is happening within the specialist group, and also other IWA activities, of course. So IWA Connect is the primary source of communication for the specialist group or for the management committee to its members. We also have a number of other ways of communication, which I will also come back to soon. We have also set up, for the benefit of our research topics rather than for our members. We have set up an open website as well, because if you go into IWA Connect and you're not an IWA member, you cannot see what is happening within the different specialist groups. So from our side, from the MIA Specialist Group, we have an open website that contains, in principle, the same information as we put on IWA Connect. And there, everybody can go in, being a member of IWA or not, and see what is happening, and events that is taking place, and calendars, and various publications, and so on. We also help IWA to produce the what is called the Global Trend Report. The Global Trend Report is a setup or a publication that was first created in 2012, the first edition, and then it's updated. It should, in principle, be updated every 4 years. So it was updated with the second version in 2016, and there should be a third version here in Copenhagen, presented in 2020. But since the whole conference was delayed for 2 years, it was instead presented just this morning at the IWA booth in the exhibition area. So the third edition of the Global Trend Report is now available, and the MIA Group is one important player in that role, where we describe our views on hot topics for the future and so on. I think in total there were 29 specialist groups out of the 50 that have contributed to this Global Trend Report, and there are 3 different themes within the report. The work of MIA goes under the theme of the more technical areas, but and it is probably already openly available somewhere on IWA Connect, so everybody can have a look at and download the Global Trend Report. The Global Trend Report itself is also a good vehicle for searching for collaborations between specialist groups, since there are, as I said, 29 specialist groups that are putting their views on their topics in this report. And since each group only writes like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, it's fairly easy there to locate collaboration topics and see what specialist groups would be the most obvious ones to establish a more in-depth collaboration with. Then, of course, we have close collaboration with headquarters of IWA, with one of the subcommittees of the Strategic Council of IWA, which is called here the Specialist Group to the Strategic Council to Specialist Group Subcommittee, and also to IWA Learn, who have on several occasions helped us to create our webinars and so on. Strong focus, task groups and work groups. I've already mentioned that. We'll come back to that even more. Organized conferences and workshops. Yes, of course, one of the key things that the specialist groups has as a responsibility. We also try to organize workshops and sessions at non-IWA conferences. We have been successful in having a session at the CETAC conference a couple of years ago, and also at IFAC conference at a number of occasions. There has been a special session on more modeling and control and so on related to urban water systems. That's something, it's a bit time consuming to do this, but it is important that we are open for collaboration with other organizations as well outside the IWA community. Webinars, yes. Visibility on social media is something that have increased quite dramatically in the last 3 to 4 years within the specialist group. So we now have established ourselves on LinkedIn and Twitter and YouTube, and I will come back to that as well as we move on. And then most important, to create friendships, to have the face-to-face meeting, and that we all have been lacking for such a long time, and also do social activities together. A lot of people within the MIA Specialist Group, not only the management committee, are very close friends as well. We have been seeing each other and meeting each other and working together for many years. So that is one of the key things that the MIA group also stands for. If we look quickly at the group organization and the composition of the management committee, first of all, it should be remembered that all the work that is done within the specialist groups is voluntary, and that's always a problem. So it is done on our spare time, and especially for the management committee that has a number of extra tasks to fulfill, that is an issue. And that is why we need the most dedicated management committee members that can actually make this happen without saying that, oh, sorry, I don't have the time to do that. I cannot do that now. I have too many other things to do. Because then the management or the specialist group comes to a stop. You see some statistics there below on gender and country. It's not completely updated. It's actually 2 years old, that statistics, but things have not changed dramatically. And as I mentioned, we have a strong we have a strong incorporation of young water professionals within our management committee. So the management committee has 14 senior members, and plus the outgoing chair, and then there are 14 associated young water professionals also within the management committee, and 1 senior member and 1 young water professional are put together in teams. So there's also a mentoring and educational part of the whole thing. And this we set up in 2015 or 2016 as the first specialist group to include a large number of young water professionals, and it has been very successful. We get much more done because the young water professionals, we have a young water professional here in the room, and are very active and very ambitious and very well, they still have the strength to work late at night when the rest of us go to sleep. And so a lot of the actual outcomes from the specialist group in terms of what the management committee provides is handled by the young water professionals. And it has been such a success that it has now gradually been adopted by a large number of other specialist groups as well. Maybe not going all the way as we have, so that we have an equal number of senior and young water professionals in the management committee, but at least incorporating a decent number of young water professionals within the management committee. And there's a high diversity of people that are in the management committee. We are representing something like 12 countries within our 29 members, and representing 21 different institutions around the world. So, well, some of these things on this slide I've already mentioned, that we created this not only for the benefit of the specialist group, but also for the benefit of a number of young water professionals. So it's a give and take. We hope that the young water professionals that engage in the management committee feel that they are not just used as working tools for the specialist group, but that they also gain experience and a network and so on that is very valuable for them to have. So as I said, we team up a full a senior management committee member with a young work professional. We make sure that those teams are not from the same university or the same research group, and normally not even from the same country. Then the seniors have a responsibility to take on a mentoring role, and that is up basically to the pair itself to decide how that should be set up. We have we've seen over the last 8 years since we set up this that there is a very positive way forward. Well, a large number of the young work professionals, when they reach when they have reached the age of 35, which is the limit of being a young work professional, many of them want to stay in the management committee as then move up to the senior level, and we try to make that possible in several cases. Of course, we also need some kind of dynamic in the management committee, so we need to take in some outside members as well. But we see that as a positive view on or a positive feedback on how the young work professionals regard their role in the management committee, that they are in many cases willing and eager to continue as senior member. And as I said, been adopted by a number of other specialist groups, but the MIA group was the first with this way of setting up the management committee. Our management committee as such just now is that I'm the chair, Ulf Jeppsson from Sweden, and Elena Torfs from Belgium is the vice chair. You see also that I have an associate young work professional, Sabah Daneshkar, and Elena has an associate young work professional, Tri Lee. Then the remaining part of the management committee, you see here, you see the seniors to the left, and you see their associated young work professional to the right. And then you also see the role of each management committee pair, what is their main focus. We have tried to set up a reasonable amount of roles so that there is a role for everybody to feel special responsibility for. Not saying that that is the only thing that is handled and done by that specific person or persons, but it gives an indication of what we are aiming at within the management committee. So we see that we have responsibility for webinars, we have administrative coordinators, we have a couple of industrial insight officers, we have a task group and work group coordinator, conference and workshop coordinator. I have a Connect liaison officer, a webmaster, a young water professional relations officer, social media coordinator. And then we just set up, when we reformed the management committee a couple of months or a month ago, we also created this role of outreach coordinator to other specialist groups, in the urge of trying to find good collaboration with other specialist groups within the IWA. We have 3 senior members that have just recently come in to the management committee, because those of you who have seen this type of presentations before recognize a lot of the names, but we have Timothy Holloway from the University of Portsmouth in the UK as a new senior member. We have Juan Baeza from Autonoma University in Spain as a new senior member, and we have Sina Bose as a new senior member. And Sina is one example of being formerly a young work professional, now passing the age limit and moving into the senior committee staff. Also, in terms of the young water professionals, we have 3 members that were very recently included in the management committee. We have Fabio Polesel from DHI Group in Denmark. We have let's see, who was it more? We have Ahmed Chakwa from Gaza, Palestine, water utilities there. And we have Mahmoud Al Hassan, yes, sorry. Also a new member in a new associated young work professional. But we still have 1 vacancy. You see here, it says vacant. But I'll come back to that towards the end of the presentation. And since we have new members coming in, that also means that we have management committee who have left the management committee. And we want to say special thank you to the 3 senior members that have stepped down: Domenico Santore, Patrick Azzadi, and Christina Martin. And then 3 young water professionals who have stepped down: Ying Chris Sun, En Shi, and Chuming Chen. So great thanks to all of you for your efforts within the MIA Specialist Group. Great work. If we look at the overall members, it's always difficult to know how many really active members we have, but if we look at the total number of members for the MIA Specialist Group, we had, according to IWA Connect, a little more than 1,900 members by early September this year. That does not mean that we have 1,900 very active members, because, as you know, you can, when you become an IWA member, you can register to any number of specialist groups that you want. So there are members that have signed up to all 50 specialist groups and so on. And that doesn't mean that one is active within all 50 specialist groups. But we certainly have a number of 100 people who are what we could say the core MIA group and highly active members. And we also try to, well, it's nothing that we can really do about, but as you know, it's an IWA, a major issue within IWA, so that we have a fairly decent gender balance, or try to recruit new members in areas where IWA is not very prominent. You see that Europe is dominating, but Europe is dominating IWA within all specialist groups, so that's nothing strange. But we have at least a fair amount of members also from the other continents of the world. If we continue and look at some activities that has happened, and that will happen within the next 1 or 2 years within the specialist group. When we started up the initiative of having a large number of young water professionals, it was soon clear that the young water professionals, as I said before, were very dynamic, very ambitious, very eager to do things. So there's a number of initiatives, or some examples of initiatives here, that has been created based on the young water professionals. And that is that we have, with all the task groups and working groups that we have within the specialist group, we have a young water professional who is the liaison officer to that task group working group, and keeps a direct link and communication of what's happening with the work in that group, and reports back to the management committee. The young work professionals set up and created the possibility to have their own separate meetings without the senior management committee present. And they do that about 4 times per year. And they discuss activities, and they can also invite members from the management committee or other senior researchers to have mentoring lectures and so on. And this is also has been working very well, that there's also a way for the young work professionals to communicate directly within their own group. And then also if there are things that they feel need to be changed or modified or doesn't work properly within the specialist group, then they can bring that back as a more general opinion from the entire group, rather than just it's always difficult for one single person to come and say, this is not working well, and we should change this and that. But it's easier to come back as a group. The young work professionals are part of organizing workshops at various conferences. We see some examples here, some conferences that have already taken place, and some conferences that will or one conference that will happen early 2023, the WRR Model 2022 Plus. And it can be either organized by this group of young work professionals, or some of the young work professionals can be a part of the organizing committee of young work professional workshops. As you know, it's almost standard nowadays that there is a young work professional workshop at the big conferences within IWA. The young work professionals have also set up their internal seminars to present work for themselves and train in presentation techniques and so on. They are basically taking care of the newsletter from the MIA group. They offer support to other local chapters. You know, IWA has, in a number of countries, there are local young work professional chapters that are nationally based. For example, you see Canada and Sweden, and with the experience of the young work professionals within the management committee, there's also initiatives to set up new young work professional chapters in a few more countries, based on the nationalities of our young work professionals in the management committee. The young work professionals are also working on integrating networking events with other specialist groups, and that's a great initiative. It takes a bit of time to find these groups, but we have had some joint events together with, especially with the specialist group on instrumentation control and automation. And there's also plans to potentially open up young work professional seminars that are now more or less kept within the MIA group, but also open it up for the rest of IWA, for young work professionals, not only within MIA, but for young work professionals within IWA as such. Task groups and working groups, a major topic for the MIA Specialist Group for at least the last 2 decades. It is one of the major ways of how we push research forward from the specialist groups. And as I mentioned, there's a young work professional liaison to all the task groups and work groups. And they keep track of how and ask for progress updates, update the website of the task groups and work groups and so on, make sure that information is up to date. And we have, if you go to IWA Connect and go to the specialist group of MIA, you will also find that there are sub-pages from that page to all the task groups and work groups that are under the umbrella of the MIA specialist groups. You can very easily find them through the MIA specialist groups. And here are some of the task groups and working groups that we have. We don't have to go through them all. You see that there's a couple of them here that finished quite a number of years ago. We should mention, for example, here, the Design and Operations Uncertainty Task Group, chaired by Lina Belia. That task group finished by the end of 2021 and published their STR. Also, the group on physical chemical modeling is just finishing their work. The task group on greenhouse gases emissions actually presented their STR here at the conference yesterday. Their scientific and technical report had just been or was available since April, but was officially presented now. And then we have two task groups that are more ongoing work: membrane bioreactor modeling and control, and good modeling practice in water resource recovery systems. We'll come back a little bit to these task groups very soon. Working groups also, you see 5 different working groups, where one finished last year. That was the one on life cycle analysis, and that means that we now have 4 active working groups within the specialist group, where one, the hybrid modeling working group, is just set up. It was approved in August this year. A very interesting topic, and we'll come back to that as well. And if you have ideas for a task group or a topic that you think would be suitable for a task group or a working group, then just contact me or anybody else in the management committee, and we will try to assist to the best of our capability to make that come true. There's a difference between task groups and working groups, in the sense that working groups is something that we can decide upon ourselves. It is the specialist group itself that decides if it wants to set up a working group on a specific topic. Whereas task groups have a bit more formalized way of being approved. They have to go up to the Strategic Council of IWA, and there the approval is given. And formally, IWA never has more than 5 active task groups at the same time. And the lifetime of a task group is then set to normally to 3 years, and then there should be an outcome, even though many task groups are a bit delayed. We are fully aware of that. But formally, if you look at IWA headquarters websites, you will, in principle, only find 5 different task groups, because those are the task groups that are being funded at the time. But there may still be many task groups that are still ongoing because their funding has stopped, but they are not finished. And there may be several task groups that have started up but have not been formally approved, because there is still no space and room to get funding, since it's only 5 at the time that gets funding. But we have been managed to get the approval for a large number of task groups, as you see here. So if you have ideas, just contact us, and we will do our best to assist you. If we look a little bit closer on these task groups and working groups, I mentioned the Design and Operations Uncertainty Task Group that was just finished late 2021. The STR that you see on the right here was officially published. This is the task group that has been, well, it's been going on for probably almost 15 years. So sometimes it takes longer than 3 years to finish. One should be aware of that. But at the end, something really good comes out of it. And it's been Lina Belia who has been the chair of this specialist group. Then the physical chemical framework task group, led by Damien Batstone in Australia, are just about to finish. The final little corrections are being made in the STR. So I have written here that it is basically in press, and hopefully it will be available by the end of 2022. And hopefully it will also be an open access publication. I don't have the confirmation about that, but I certainly hope so, because this is it is. So we have confirmation, open access for the PCM STR. That's great news. The greenhouse gas emission task group, led by Jose Porro in the US, was published, the STR was published in April 2022 officially. And as I said, there was just a presentation of the STR here at the World Water Congress. Also, this STR is open access. I heard that it had already been downloaded some 6,500 times, so that's great. It shows the importance of having it as open access rather than to having to pay £120 for an STR. Normally then the STR sells in maximum 1,000 copies. Here we get several thousand downloads in just a few months. The membrane bioreactor modeling and control task group is ongoing. That is led by Giorgio Mannina in Italy, in Sicily. It has been, I think it was initiated somewhere around 2018. So has been ongoing for some four years now. But we have, there's certainly progress being made and papers coming out and meetings being held. So we have great hope that we will see also a scientific and technical report within a reasonable amount of time. And the task group on good modeling practice for water resource recovery systems, which is led by Patrick Dunlap, is also making good progress. Some of you may remember that there was a good modeling practice task group that finished in 2012, I think. It was led by Leif Rieger. So this is a type of a continuation of that task group. The previous task group was focusing on good modeling practice, primarily for the biological treatment, basically the activated sludge process. In this task group, the group takes it one step further and look at the entire wastewater treatment plant. So a number of different processes to set up good modeling practice for those individual processes, but more importantly for that plant-wide modeling and description of a wastewater treatment plant. And there's already some writing going on there in terms of the upcoming scientific and technical reports. So good progress being made there. The working groups that I mentioned, just briefly here, Integrated Urban Water Systems led by Peter Bach, has been a working group for quite a number of years on various aspects of the whole urban drainage system. And as I mentioned before, working groups do not have a time limit. So as long as there is interest and there's an active group of people that are promoting the work of the theme that the working group is standing for, as long as we feel that is ongoing, then the working group can remain active. As I said, it's a pure decision made by the specialist group management committee. So Peter Bach is pushing forward for maybe a number of years more. The working group of computational fluid dynamics has, with Julien Laurent as the chair, has been very active and has done the somewhat unusual thing of actually producing a scientific and technical report. Normally, working groups would not do that because it's just it's a lot of extra work to do it. But it's absolutely great that the working group has pushed it all the way into scientific and technical report on CFD modeling, which was made available this year, and it's also open access. So just go in and download and make use of all the information that is in there. If the CFD working group then plans to continue their activities for a longer period of time, I don't have information about that, but that is something that we will come back to at the future meetings. On the other hand, the life cycle analysis working group, which is led by Luis Corominas, or was led by Luis, has actually finished. They done what they had set up to achieve, and when they published their white paper on life cycle assessment applied to wastewater treatment and operational guide, there was a consensus among the working group members that yes, we are done. We move on to other things now. We have a good modeling practice working group as well. This working group is not very active. I just mentioned it here shortly. It's Günther Langegaber who is the chair, and it was made up by the members of the former task group of good modeling practice. They set up a working group in order to find members to create a new task group for good modeling practice work with a plant-wide perspective. And as you saw on a few slides back, such a task group has been created. So in that sense, the goals have been achieved. So may potentially this working group will also be offline fairly soon. Now we just set up a new working group on hybrid modeling. Sina Bourget is the chair of that working group, and it was approved just less than a month ago. And it will work with various aspects on, as you know, hybrid modeling being the combination of mechanistic models and data-driven models. So you combine them in a formal single workflow, and you get hybrid models that hopefully can show the best of two worlds, both showing traditional cause and effect relationships based on the mechanistic parts, and also being highly efficient on various type of prediction and so on, based on data and big data and metadata available from the processes. There is also on the longer term base, this working group also has as an aim to create an open source platform with a Git repository of models and data, and to develop a test case study of hybrid modeling and make available openly shared data, so that there is something for other people not within the working group to download and work with and test their models on, and compare with what has been created within the hybrid modeling working group. Although it was just initiated less than a month ago, it has already been very active. Already had workshop at the previous WRR Mod 2021 conference, has a workshop here in the World Water Congress, published a review article in Water Cyclogy, and has also had a webinar within the MIA Specialist Group. So this also shows that you don't have to always wait until you have the formal approval. You can certainly you can certainly start working on a topic that you think is appropriate for a working group and a task group before you have reached that point. So speaking of webinars then, we decided a number of years ago within the MIA Specialist Group that webinars is one good way of reaching out to our members, providing knowledge on a certain topic, and also providing the possibility for researchers that are deeply involved in the topic to spread that information and knowledge to a wider audience. So we started off in 2017, and then we used what is called IWA Learn. IWA has a subdivision, which is IWA Learn, that helps to set up and create these type of webinars. And you see that from 2017 up till November 2020, we set up 7 different webinars on various different topics. Of course, all of them related to modeling, reaching out to quite an impressive number of attendees for these webinars. And it worked out fine. The only problem was that as more and more specialist groups wanted to set up webinars within IWA Learn's organization, the bureaucracy and the time delay before you could actually, from when you asked to have a webinar until you actually got the time slot, could be something like at least half a year. So therefore, we decided in 2020 that, okay, let's see if we can do this on our own instead. So starting in 2021, we set up our webinars within our own organization, within our own specialist group, taking care of all the necessary administrative work and using our own Zoom platform for setting up the webinars. And thereby we could also go much quicker from when we have a group of people that are interested in giving a webinar, writing a short description about that, setting a date for the webinar, promoting the webinar, and actually having the webinar is a much easier and shorter time span of work. You see also that the number of attendees is lower because these are then not announced as much as an official IWA Learn webinar, which is announced everywhere on IWA websites and so on. But there's another big difference, and that's that these webinars that we set up within our own within our own specialist group is also owned by us, or it's not owned by IWA. So that means that we can also use our social media channel, our YouTube channel, to make it available for everybody. And that is not possible to do with the webinars that are created within IWA Learn. So we may not reach as many attendees at the actual time of the actual webinar, but on the other hand, our YouTube channel will show these webinars for a very long time and hopefully attract even more attendees that would be done through IWA Learn. And also, of course, IWA Learn, it's only for IWA members. And well, I am certainly a big advocate of promoting membership of IWA, but we know that there are a lot of people who are not IWA members, and we want to be able to spread the information and knowledge about modeling of various aspects, of all different aspects of the water cycle, also to non-members. And from that point of view, our YouTube solution is more appropriate. We will have a number of upcoming webinars this fall. the order here is not absolutely certain, but we hope that during the fall we will have one webinar on related to the task group of physical chemical modeling, since they are now finishing their work and publishing their scientific and technical report. We're also planning to have one on greenhouse modeling, also based on the task group that was just finished and published their scientific and technical report, and hopefully one on sewer modeling as well. And early in 2023, we plan to have one on membrane bioreactor modeling from the MBR task group to fill us in on where they stand at this point in time. So don't take the topics and the months here as written in stone. It may change a little bit, but this is our goal. Yeah, this I already said. If you want to if you think that you have something that a topic that you want to spread among other people working in the field, then just contact us and we will try to make it happen. And as I said, it's much easier for us now to do it when we are setting up the webinars ourselves, rather than when we did it through IWA Learn. So and it may sometimes normally we have them like 60 or 90 minutes. Could also potentially be shorter ones. Doesn't need to have to be 5-6 presenters. Could be 2 presenters and so on. But it should of course be on a topic that we feel have a broad interest among our modeler friends. Then we have conferences. That's of course another vehicle by which the specialist group is moving its work forward. That we are the umbrella organization for 2 main conferences, international conferences. One being the Water Resource Recovery Modeling Seminar, the WRR Mod. That is organized under the umbrella of the MIA organization, the MIA Specialist Group. And the 8th seminar will be in Stellenbosch in South Africa early next year. Note here that the dates for this webinar, for this conference, was fairly recently changed. Before it was 15th to 18th of January, but for various reasons it is now changed to 18th to 21st or 22nd of January. So be aware of that when if you plan to attend and plan your travels and fit it into your schedule and so on. And it's Dr. David Akumi, who is the organizer, together with a local organizing committee from University of Cape Town and other universities in South Africa. Then we have the Watermatics Conference, which is the second conference that is under the umbrella of the MIA Specialist Group. And the 11th Watermatics Conference will be organized. There is no specific date yet, but we've said that it's late summer 2023. So I would assume August 2023 in Quebec City in Canada. And it is Peter van Rollegem and from University Laval in Canada, and Elena Torfs from University of Ghent in Belgium, who is setting that up. By that time, so as you may remember from a previous slide, Elena Torfs is also the vice chair of the specialist group. And at that conference, Watermatics 2023, according to our constitution, Elena will then take over my role as chair in the specialist group, because the vice chair automatically becomes chair after 4 years. And I will then move into the role as outgoing chair. Um, Finally, we have also reached far in terms of the decision of the WRR Mod conference in 2024. There are still some details that have not been finalized, but we are hoping that it will be in Stove, Vermont in the US. And if that, for various reasons that I don't have time to go into now, if that does not work out, there are some backup plans to handle the location of the WRR Mod 2024. But it will most likely be during also during late summer 2024. And so we still have 2 years to go until that. But there are some minor issues that need to be cleared before we finally announce Stove, Vermont as the organizing as the location for that conference. Some of you who have been listening to IWA the last few months, well, actually a few years they have been talking about it, know that IWA have been talking a lot about creating a CRM system. The CRM system is a customer relations management system, which would contain basically everything related to IWA activities within one system. It was presented here at the World Water Congress, and the idea is that this new system will go online early 2023, and it will be known to the public as IWA Connect Plus. And so it's certainly an extension of from our side as normal users. It's certainly an extension. It can do much more than IWA Connect can do, but also for the administration at IWA headquarters, they will use the same system for most parts of their work. So we are looking forward to and hope that IWA Connect Plus will be a big success and certainly promote networking and collaboration and spreading of knowledge. One of the things that IWA Connect Plus will contain is what IWA calls a treasure chest. That treasure chest contains publications. Publications from some IWA journals, publications from some IWA headquarters organization conferences, and a number of other things that would be available then for members only. Then I just want to promote that we have, or the management committee of the specialist group has for a number of years, the last 3 or 4 years, been collecting and making available the proceedings from, in principle, all the MIA umbrella conferences during that time. The WRR Mod starting from 28 and then every second year until the last one, 2021. And Watermatics from the year 2000, which takes place was every 4th year, but is now every 3rd year. So all the proceedings, in principle, all posters as well, and so on, is available here. You know how difficult it is to find and reference a conference paper if it's not later published also in a journal. So this at least makes it possible to search and find for papers that are from the last 20 years of conferences. We have also added proceedings from some other conferences that are not directly under the MIA umbrella, but has a topic that for many MIA members are of interest, and that is conferences that are organized within our cousin specialist group, instrumentation, control, and automation. We have made proceedings from a number of their conferences available here, and also from what was called the Outmonet conference. It does not exist anymore, but the last few Outmonet conferences that took place is also available here, plus a few extra goodies also. So this is already a treasure chest available for MIA members. If you go into IWA Connect and you look at into the document area, you will find all the complete publications from all these conferences. Hopefully, we will also be able to transfer this conference content into IWA Connect Plus, so that it will become a part of the whole IWA treasure chest. And hopefully other specialist groups would do similar effort to set up or find the proceedings from their old conferences and make that also available for the IWA Connect Plus treasure chest, so that it's not only the World Water Congress and the Development Congress and the Leading Edge Technology Congress and a few others that IWA headquarters are organizing themselves, but rather all these specialist group conferences that are have been done over the years, so that content from those conferences are not forgotten and is not lost in time. A few other things that I just want to mention. We have, as you know, as many of you know at least, there's something called, there's actually 3 different programs within IWA, but the largest and probably most successful of these 3 programs is the Digital Water Program. And it's made up of a vast number of groups and people, but the management committee of the MIA has 1 representative in the steering committee of the Digital Water Program. The Digital Water Program was actually supposed to end this year, but it will end right now at this conference, but I think it will be extended for at least 2 years. So Sabada Neshkar is our representative in the IWA Digital Water Program Steering Committee. I mentioned the Global Trend Report, where we, mainly the management committee, but also with help of some other members, wrote a chapter on emerging topics in modeling and integrated assessment. And that is then the 3rd edition of the Global Trend Report. Should be generally available, at least for all IWA members. 30 or 29 different specialist groups have contributed to this report, and it was officially released this morning here at the World Water Congress. And also to simplify for members to get a short view on the activities of the MIA Specialist Group, we also make a yearly summary of what has happened over the year within the specialist group, and make that available on our 2 websites as well. So there you can get like a quick look on what has been going on. That's normally just a 1-page document. So some other activities within the specialist group. A white paper on digital water, operational digital twins in the urban water sector, has been published with, or was published, I don't know, a year or 2 years ago, 1 year ago, with a number of the MIA MC members taking part in that paper. There was a paper also on operational challenges during COVID-19. So a more generalized paper on digital solutions for continued operation of water resource and recovery facilities during pandemics and other interruptions, which was a joint work by 7 different management committee members who got that paper published. Social media, something that has become obviously more and more important. If nobody knows what is happening within the specialist group, then it doesn't matter what we do. So therefore, instead of just relying on one single platform for a website like IWA Connect, which is then, as I said, also restricted so that it's basically it's only members that have full access to the content there. We have expanded in a number of ways. And we did expand first so that we had an alternative open website where non-members could find basically the same content as they would on the IWA Connect webpage. But then we thought that that was not enough. There is certainly other ways of communicating now as well. So we have set up on LinkedIn a special area for the MIA Specialist Group, where often similar messages that appear on IWA Connect also goes to the LinkedIn to quickly get a wider spread. Sometimes in a bit shortened form, but still basically the same content. We also communicate then through Twitter, and finally also through YouTube, where we have then, as I said, especially to make our webinars and so on, the ones that we create ourselves, to make them available for everybody who is interested in the field. So communication is important, and that's also why we have now a special social media coordinator in the management committee. Finally, because this is getting way longer than I thought. Finally, I just want to come back to the topic that I mentioned in the beginning, that we have a vacancy. So in terms of senior members in the management committee, we have filled all the positions, and we also have a number of people on what we call the waiting list. People that have already submitted applications and are willing to come on board on the management committee as senior members. So at this point, we are not really looking for new senior members, but we are looking for young wood professionals. The waiting list that we had before is drained now, it's finished, it's done. So we have nobody on the waiting list, and we actually already have a vacant position. And if you are a young wood professional and you're looking at this, and hopefully maybe you know some of the names on the list here of the other young wood professionals, you can contact them and get their private opinion on how it is to be a young wood professional on our management committee. Or you can contact me or any of the senior members as well to get more information. But we would hope that we would have get a number of applicants for positions of young wood professionals. Maybe there's not, if you are 35 years old or 34, there's not much use of applying, because formally you're only allowed to be a young wood professional until you turn 36. So 35 years of old is the oldest that you can be. And we are, of course, when we recruit members for the management committee, we are looking for a more long-term collaboration than just 1 year or 1.5 years. We're hoping more for 3-4 years together. So if you're in the age of 30, 31, 32, younger than 30, perfect. That will be the proper age to apply for this type of effort. And we will make applications soon available. how to apply. It's not a complicated procedure. We will make those instructions available on IWA Connect and our social media. And then based on, then there will be a deadline for applications, and then there will be an electronic voting by the senior management committee members. And then we will try to fill, or we will fill that empty space in the management committee, and hopefully then also have a few more names on a waiting list that are ready to step in when a new position opens up in the future. Because there's always some turnaround, obviously, within the management committee. People that, well, for various reasons, that there's always a few people every now and then that has to leave the management committee. So I hope we get a number of applicants as soon as we have released the instructions of how to do this, probably within the next month. Final remarks. The slides here are will be available on IWA Connect and also on the open website, so you have full access to them, whether you're a member or not. And the recording of this meeting will be made available on our YouTube channel, because we are, as I said, well, now we're 2 in the room plus me, and we are 2 online plus me. So we hope that through YouTube it will find at least a few more people that want to listen in on what the activities of the specialist group has been recently. And we plan to have the next MIA Open Group meeting then at Watermatics 2023 in Quebec, Canada, where we will also then have a change of chair of the management committee. So I hope to see you at least at Watermatics, if not before. And I just want to say thank you for listening in. And if you have any questions or comments on what I have presented or anything else related to the specialist group, then just, if you're online, just unmute yourself. And if you're in the room, just ask a question. We have we had a comment from one of the people in the room now, which probably was not heard online, that there are two young work professionals in the management committee that are approaching the age limit. So in principle, that there will soon be three vacant positions for anybody who's applying. Okay, and this was, of course, much longer than I had planned, but that's the danger when you just keep it. Nobody stops you from babbling on. Yep, Charlie.
You know, when you have people but when you have the YouTube channel, but when it comes to number of pounds at the end, for some of the YouTube presentations that can be 400. So at the end of the day, perhaps the day of in the long run, and to manage their own presentations and making them available to everybody.
Yep. So the question here was about YouTube versus IWA Learn for webinars and how we reach different number of people and so on. And I would say, that, first of all, the main reason that we did it on our own was that we just felt it was too much work, too much forms to fill in, too much communication with IWA Learn before we actually got something going. So there was this delay that we wanted to get rid of. In terms of number of attendees, certainly higher when IWA Learn did it, but we should also remember that when we started with IWA Learn, that was 2017. There was not, in 2018, 2019, there was not much webinars available at that time. When the pandemic hit, then gradually everybody started to create webinars. So the whole market was flushed with available webinars on any possible topic. But we would hope that maybe the 100 normally that we have for our own organized webinars would be people that are really interested, not just passively logging in. But then we have statistics also on the YouTube downloads, but I don't have them in my head. But we are, if I don't know, Gabriel, if you remember anything, but for some of them that there's been a couple of hundred downloads. Yeah, so I would think and hope that in the long run we are actually reaching out to more people, and we're also reaching out to people. Certainly, you don't have to be an IWA member, which was a necessity before, and hopefully we can also attract a little bit of interest from people that are not normally professional water and wastewater researchers and utility people. Yeah. That's always a difference between actually registering and then actually going in and listing. And then you never know how many is just logging in and starting, turning off the sound and then doing something else on the side. But that's another matter. Yeah. Yep. I know we should also probably follow up that a little more. There's a few people in the management group that keep track of this, but we have not really discussed it at the management committee meetings either. And so, yeah. Cannot be compared. I mean, I think in terms of task groups, which is the only thing that one can find a little bit of statistics. I think because working group is just created within, and a lot of them are not even reporting it back to the IWA headquarters. But for task groups, I think almost, well, between 1/3 and 50% of all task groups have been within the MIA. So it is not bad, at least if you look at the last 20 years, because IWA was organized, well, it wasn't even called IWA, it was called IWPRC in 1983 or 1987 when, for example, the first STR was published, the one on mathematical modeling with accurate sludge model. So it's difficult to say, but that was certainly a modeling STR, if anything. So if there would have been a modeling specialist group, it would certainly fall within our category as well. But yes, it is vast majority. We have used it as our vehicle for a long time and done it very successfully as well. So task groups are important, and we are the dominating specialist group setting up task groups. Yeah. So the question here was now about the our local treasury box, where we have the publications from conferences related to MIA, and it is. We want to make it available as much as possible. Certainly IWA Connect Plus within because the problem is, and that's why I don't want to go into it in detail, but the problem is, of course, copyright issues. As long as it stays within a boundary of members, then we can feel quite certain that, okay, nobody would object if we put up proceedings from 2015 on that website. If we put up those proceedings completely general, it could be another issue, especially for the, you know, the 1, 2, 3 latest years of conferences. 20-year-old conference proceedings, not a problem. Conference proceedings that are 1 or 2 years could be difficult. But so that there might be a potential differentiation, as I see. Maybe all the proceedings that we can find that are less than 4 or 5 years old, to say that's a kind of a normal PhD student cycle, those would be available for everybody. But the last few years would be restricted to IWA members. Maybe that's just on the top of my head. Anybody online who has a comment or a question? Does not seem so. And I hope the audience here in the great hall is also happy with what we have done. So with that, I just want to say thank you, and follow future updates from the MIA specialist groups, and we will try our best to do our best for the members of the specialist groups. Thank you. Bye-bye.